Earth had made contact with the Galactic Council 50 years ago. Humans were the newest and most primitive species to join the stars. While they were accepted, they were barely tolerated. Most alien species saw humans as soft creatures from an unimportant planet. Commander Alice Wright sat at the back of the massive council chamber. The room was filled with representatives from over 200 alien civilizations. Some floated in special tanks. Others needed breathing equipment. Many looked almost human, except for strange skin colors or extra limbs. Alice tried not to stare at the Jalarians, who were basically giant brains carried around by robot bodies. Today was supposed to be about security updates, but as usual, it had turned into a session of mock the humans. "Your species evolved on a planet with such weak predators," said Ambassador Zixtal, a tall reptilian from the Dravek Empire. His voice was deep and scratchy. His scaled skin shimmered green and gold under the chamber lights. "Our worlds forged warriors. Yours created diplomats." Several alien representatives laughed. The sound was a strange mix of hoots, clicks, and rumbles. Alice clenched her jaw but kept her face neutral. She had been through this many times in the 5 years since joining Earth's diplomatic corps. She glanced at Dr. Peter Hoffman, Earth's xenobiologist, who sat beside her. His gray eyes met hers and he gave a slight shrug. They both knew the routine. The Arcturian delegate, a blob-like being inside a floating metal shell, moved forward. It pressed a button on its control panel, and holograms appeared in the center of the chamber. The images showed Earth animals, lions, tigers, wolves, and sharks, alongside massive alien creatures with multiple rows of teeth, acidic saliva, and armored hides. "We have studied your planet's wildlife," the Arcturian said through its translator. Its real voice was a series of bubbling sounds. "Your fiercest predators would be prey on most council worlds." Alice watched as the alien crowd nodded and gestured in agreement. The Galactic Council had formed tens of thousands of years ago. Most member species had been spacefaring for millennia. Humans, with only 50 years of faster-than-light travel, were like children at an adult's table. Perhaps this is why humans are so soft in negotiations, added a tall, thin alien with 4 arms and purple skin. They never had to evolve. True aggression or survival instincts. Peter leaned close to Alice. "They never bothered to check the complete records, did they?" he whispered. Alice smiled slightly. When Earth had submitted its biological database to the Council, certain species had been strategically omitted. It wasn't against the rules. The Council only required information on dominant and common species. Earth had provided data on all the expected animals, the big cats, bears, sharks, and so on. But some creatures, like honey badgers, had been left out of the official records, classified as minor species of limited ecological impact. That had been a deliberate choice. The council meeting droned on for another hour. Just as it was wrapping, up an aide rushed in and handed a datapad to the council leader, an ancient being from one of the founding worlds. The leader's expression changed. "We have received disturbing news," it announced. "The Hivemind Collective has attacked 3 of our border outposts. Early reports suggest all defenses were overwhelmed within hours." A tense silence fell over the chamber. The Hivemind was a relatively new threat to the galaxy, a vast connected consciousness controlling insect-like drones that consumed resources and expanded relentlessly. Until now, they had stayed in the unexplored regions beyond council space. "We must respond immediately," said Zixtal, standing tall. "The Dravek Empire will send our battle fleet." Other representatives quickly offered their forces too. The council leader nodded and began assigning defense sectors. "Earth will contribute as well," Alice said, standing up. The chamber went quiet. Then several aliens laughed. "No offense, Commander Wright," said Zixtal, "but this is not a diplomatic mission. This requires real military power." Alice kept her voice level. "Earth has a defense force. We have ships. We have soldiers. Made of the same soft stuff as your planet's weak predators," someone called out. The council leader raised a hand for silence. "We appreciate Earth's offer," it said diplomatically. "Perhaps your ships can guard Outpost 42. It's far from the Main conflict zone and unlikely to see any action. Alice recognized the insult immediately. Outpost 42 was the least important station in that sector, watching over an empty region of space with no valuable resources or strategic importance. It was busy work meant to keep the humans out of the way. She bowed slightly. Earth accepts this assignment. As the meeting ended and the various representatives filed out, Peter walked beside Alice down the long corridor back to the Earth section of the station. Outpost 42, he said quietly. They might as well have asked us to guard an empty shoebox. Alice's lips curved into a small smile. It's perfect, actually. Far from prying eyes. Minimal oversight. Peter raised an eyebrow. You're thinking about Project Rattel? Alice nodded. Project Rattel had been in development for nearly a decade, ever since humanity realized how the Council viewed Earth species. Named after the honey badger's scientific classification, Mellivora capensis, also called Rattel in some regions, it was Earth's secret weapon. The project is ready, she said. The enhanced specimens have completed all testing phases. The Council would never approve, Peter warned. They have strict rules about biological weapons. They're not weapons, Alice corrected. They're military working animals, like dogs used by ancient human armies, just upgraded and much more effective. They reached the secure communication room in the Earth section. Alice placed her palm on the scanner, and the door slid open. Inside, she activated the quantum link to Earth Command, making sure the connection was on the highest security setting. General Frank Nelson's face appeared on the screen. His dark skin looked gray in the poor lighting of his office back on Earth. Commander, right, he greeted her. How did the Council meeting go? As expected, sir. They've assigned us to Outpost 42 during the hive mind crisis. Nelson frowned. That's practically an insult. It's an opportunity, Alice replied. We'll be operating with minimal oversight. I'm requesting authorization to deploy Project Rattel if the situation warrants it. The general was quiet for a moment. The honey badgers are ready? Yes, sir. Dr. Hoffman has certified all 20 units as combat ready. Nelson nodded slowly. Very well. Authorization granted, but only if absolutely necessary. We don't want to show our hand too early. Understood, sir. After ending the call, Alice turned to Peter. Looks like we're heading to Outpost 42. Start. Preparing the units for transport. Peter nodded. If the Council thinks Earth's predators are weak, they're in for quite a surprise. Alice smiled as they walked toward the docking bay where their ship waited. The aliens had never bothered to study honey badgers. They had no idea what was coming. Sometimes, the most dangerous predators weren't the biggest or the strongest. They were the ones that simply refused to give up no matter what. And Earth had learned that lesson well. 3 weeks had passed since the Council meeting. The situation across the galaxy had grown much worse. The hive mind's massive insect-like warriors had overwhelmed 6 Galactic Council outposts. Only Earth's small station, Outpost 42, remained untouched. It was positioned far from what the Council considered valuable territory. Lieutenant Kevin Barnes stood at the main control panel of Outpost 42's command center. He was a tall man with short brown hair and steady hands. His eyes never left the screens showing the movement of ships across the sector. More and more friendly dots were disappearing from the map. The Dravek battlecruisers are falling back, he said to Commander Alice Wright as she entered the room. They've lost 3 of their main ships already. Alice frowned. The Dravek were supposed to be the fiercest warriors in the galaxy. Their ships were covered in weapons and their soldiers trained from birth. If they were retreating, things were very bad. What about the Arcturians? She asked. Kevin shook his head. Their psychic shields collapsed 2 days ago. The hive mind somehow found a way around them. Communications officer Linda Martinez spun in her chair to face them. She was a compact woman with dark eyes that missed nothing. We just got a new transmission from the Gelarians. They've abandoned their colony on Proxima 5. That's the 3rd evacuation this week, Alice said. She studied the map carefully. The hive mind forces were expanding rapidly, taking over system after system. Yet they had made no move toward Outpost 42. They've never even tried to attack us, Linda said, echoing Alice's thoughts. It's like they don't think we're worth the effort. Just like the council, Kevin muttered. Alice allowed herself a small smile. Their mistake. The door to the command center slid open, and Dr. Peter Hoffman walked in. He looked tired but excited. The units are ready, he said quietly, so only Alice could hear. All 20 have passed final testing. Alice nodded. Good timing, I have a feeling we'll need them soon. As if on cue, the communication system beeped with an incoming priority message. Linda pressed a button and a hologram appeared in the center of the room. It showed the council leader looking more worried than Alice had ever seen it. This is an emergency broadcast to all council forces, the leader said. The hive mind has broken through our main defensive line. We have lost contact with 37 outposts and 7 colony worlds. All remaining military units are ordered to fall back to the central systems for a final stand. The message continued, with evacuation instructions and emergency protocols. Alice listened carefully, noting what was not being said. The council was losing badly. When the message ended, Kevin looked at Alice. We're not in the central systems. Do we abandon the outpost? No, Alice replied firmly. We stay. In fact, I think it's time we join the fight. Linda looked surprised. With what? We have 1 small ship and a crew of 30 people. What can we do against the hive mind? Alice exchanged glances with Peter. We have more than you think. Call a station meeting in 1 hour. It's time everyone knew about Project HFY Rattle. 1 hour later, all 30 crew members gathered in the station's main hall. Most were human, but there were also 5 aliens who had chosen to serve with the Earth Defense Force. They looked nervous but determined. Alice stood before them. By now, you've all heard the Council's message. The hive mind is winning this war, but we have something they don't know about. She nodded to Peter, who pressed a button on his tablet. A large screen on the wall lit up, showing a secure section of the station that most crew members had never seen. Inside a series of reinforced rooms were 20 stasis chambers. This is Project Rattel, Alice explained. For the past 10 years, Earth has been working on a special program. We took one of our planet's most ferocious predators, the honey badger, and enhanced it. The screen zoomed in on one of the stasis chambers. Inside was what looked like a large badger, but with subtle differences. It was bigger than a normal honey badger, with a more developed head and modified front paws. These are not just animals. Peter took over. They've been genetically enhanced for intelligence, strength, and durability. They have communication implants that allow them to understand simple commands and coordinate with each other. Most importantly, we've kept their natural aggression and fearlessness intact. One of the alien crew members, a blue-skinned Trailan named Vorex, raised his hand. I'm not familiar with these honey badgers. Are they significant predators on Earth? Alice smiled. They're not the biggest or strongest animals on our planet, but they might be the most fearless. Honey badgers will attack anything, regardless of size. They fight lions, snakes, anything that threatens them. They simply don't back down. She touched her tablet, and the screen changed to show video footage of natural honey badgers in action, driving lions away from their kills, fighting off packs of hyenas, surviving venomous snake bites. Now imagine these traits enhanced, Peter said, combined with near-human intelligence and the ability to work in coordinated teams. The crew looked impressed, but uncertain. How do we use them against the hive mind? Asked Security Chief Gary Powell. Even enhanced, they're still small compared to the hive warriors. Size isn't everything, Alice replied. The hive mind uses psychic links to control its drones. Our tests show that honey badgers have natural resistance to this kind of mental influence. Their minds are too determined, too singularly focused. She straightened her shoulders. I've received authorization from Earth Command. We're going to deploy Project Rattel. We will send teams of honey badgers to key hive mind control nodes. Their mission will be to disrupt the psychic network and create chaos in the hive forces. Linda looked skeptical. The Council would never approve this. They have strict rules about biological weapons. We're not asking for approval, Alice said firmly. And they're not weapons. They're military working animals. Besides, the Council is too busy retreating to worry about our methods. Right now, Kevin checked his tablet as it beeped with an alert. Commander, we're receiving a direct transmission from the Council. They're requesting our assistance. Alice couldn't help but smile. Put it through. The main screen changed to show Ambassador Zixtal. The once proud Dravik looked tired and worried. Commander Wright, he said, his voice less condescending than usual. The Council has reconsidered Earth's position. We request any assistance you can provide. We've lost 70% of our fleet. We'd be happy to help, Ambassador, Alice replied calmly. As it happens, we have a special response team ready for deployment. We'll send them immediately. After the call ended, Alice turned to her crew. Prepare the dropships. We'll deploy 5 teams of 4 honey badgers each, targeting the 5 nearest hive control nodes. As the crew rushed to carry out her orders, Peter walked up to Alice. The Council has no idea what's coming, do they? Alice shook her head. They thought all Earth predators were weak. They're about to learn that sometimes the most dangerous creature isn't the biggest or strongest. It's the one that never gives up, Peter finished. In the secure biolab section, the stasis chambers hissed open one by one. 20 enhanced honey badgers opened their eyes and stood up on their hind legs, looking around with alert, intelligent gazes. The first one, codenamed Ratel Alpha, stepped out of her chamber and looked up at Alice and Peter through the observation window. Hello, Fury, Alice said softly, using the nickname the lab staff had given the honey badger. Ready to show the galaxy what Earth predators can really do? Fury bared her teeth in what almost looked like a smile. The Council representatives watched with poorly hidden scorn as the human transport ship docked at the Galactic Command Center. They had expected battleships, not what looked like a modified cargo vessel. The center orbited a planet in the Proxima Centauri system, the last stronghold before the central worlds of the Council. Ambassador Aaron Mills, a tall man with dark skin and a calm voice, addressed the emergency session of the Council. His gray uniform was simple compared to the elaborate outfits of the alien representatives. The Earth Defense Force is prepared to engage with the hive mind threat, he said. Ambassador Zixtal's scaled skin flushed with anger. With what? Your vessel carries no significant weapons. Our scans detect only small lifeforms aboard. Precisely, Aaron replied with a slight smile. We brought our predators. At that moment, in the command center of the human transport ship, Commander Alice Wright gave the order. Begin Operation Honey Trap. Deploy all Ratel units. Lieutenant Kevin Barnes nodded and pressed a series of buttons on his control panel. Across the front of the ship, 20 small pods launched toward different hive mind-controlled territories. Each pod contained a squad of honey badgers. The squads had trained together for months. They understood their mission and could communicate with each other through their neural implants. In the command center, Dr. Peter Hoffman watched the pods' progress on the main screen. All pods on course, he confirmed. Neural links are stable. Alice nodded. Open the video feeds from the neural implants. Let's see what our teams see. The main screen split into 20 sections, each showing the view from a honey badger's perspective. Most were still inside their pods, but the first squad had already landed on a small moon that hosted a major hive mind control node. This moon orbited the gas giant Epsilon Eridani IV. Once a mining colony, it had been taken over by the hive mind 3 weeks ago. The Dravik had tried to recapture it twice. Both attempts had failed with heavy losses. Now 4 enhanced honey badgers emerged from their pod. They were larger than natural honey badgers, about the size of large dogs. Their fur was thicker, almost like armor, and their claws had been reinforced with special metals that could cut through nearly anything. Ratel Alpha, nicknamed Fury by her handlers, took the lead. She assessed the rocky terrain through enhanced eyes that could see in multiple light spectrums. Through her neural implant, she communicated with her team, Ratel Beta, Ripper, Ratel Gamma, Savage, and Ratel Delta, Havoc. Their mission was simple. Find the hive mind control node and destroy it. Fury raised her head, sniffing the air. The hive mind had a distinct smell, a mix of chemicals that the honey badgers had been trained to detect. She caught the scent and pointed her squad in the right direction. Back at the Galactic Command Center, the Council representatives had gathered in the main observation room. Large screens showed various battlefronts across the sector. Most displayed retreating Council forces or destroyed outposts. "Your tiny transport couldn't possibly carry enough soldiers to make a difference," said the Arcturian delegate to Aaron. Before Aaron could respond, one of the Council's military officers called out in surprise. "We're detecting unusual activity on Epsilon Eridani R4's moon. Something is attacking the hive mind base there." The main screen switched to show satellite imagery of the moon's surface. The quality was poor due to the hive mind's jamming technology, but they could make out small, fast-moving shapes entering the main hive structure. "What did you send?" asked Zixtal, turning to Aaron with new interest. "As I said, our predators," Aaron replied. "Would you like a better view?" Without waiting for an answer, he activated his communication device. "Commander Wright, please share the Rattel squad feeds with the Council's observation room." The screens in the room suddenly changed, showing first-person views from the honey badgers. The Council representatives watched in stunned silence as the enhanced animals tore through the hive mind complex. On Epsilon Eridani IV's moon, Fury and her squad had encountered their first hive warriors. These were massive insect-like creatures, nearly 3 meters tall with chitinous armor and multiple limbs ending in sharp claws. They moved with frightening speed and precision, controlled directly by the hive mind itself. A normal Earth animal would have fled. Even most human soldiers would have taken cover and called for backup. Fury charged directly at the nearest warrior. The hive creature swung its claws down, but Fury was already gone, moving with enhanced speed to slide under the warrior's guard. She attacked the joint where its leg met its body, her reinforced claws cutting through the supposedly impenetrable armor. The other honey badgers followed her lead, each targeting a different warrior. They moved with a combination of their natural ferocity and their enhanced intelligence, finding weak points and attacking relentlessly. In the Council observation room, the alien representatives watched in shock. "By the ancient stars," whispered the Arcturian delegate, its gelatinous form rippling with emotion. "What have you unleashed?" "Honey badgers," Aaron replied calmly. "Perhaps the most fearless predators on Earth." On another screen, they could see a second squad of honey badgers fighting their way through a hive mind outpost on a desert planet. This squad was led by Rattel Echo, nicknamed Brutus. Despite being wounded by acid spray from a hive defender, Brutus continued his attack, without slowing. "They don't stop," Zixtal observed, his voice a mix of horror and admiration. "Even when injured." "That's their most valuable trait," Aaron explained. "Honey badgers simply don't give up. They don't retreat. They don't surrender. They fight until they win or die, and they almost never die." On Epsilon Eridani IV's moon, Fury's squad had penetrated deep into the hive complex. They had left a trail of dead warriors behind them. Now they faced a new challenge, a massive chamber filled with pulsing organic technology. At the center was a large brain-like structure, the control node that coordinated all hive mind activity in this sector. Guarding it were 5 elite hive guardians, the most dangerous hive mind creatures. Each was twice the size of a regular warrior, with additional armor and weapons that could fire deadly projectiles. Fury assessed the situation quickly. Through her neural implant, she communicated with her squad. They would need to work together to overcome this challenge. Back in the Earth Transport Ship's command center, Alice and Peter watched the feed with tension. "This is the real test," Peter said quietly. "The elites are the strongest hive mind units we know of." Alice nodded. "If they can beat these, they can beat anything." The 4 honey badgers spread out, using the chamber's strange architecture for cover. Then, on Fury's signal, they attacked from different directions simultaneously. The hive elites were powerful but slow to change targets. The honey badgers used this weakness against them, drawing their attention and then switching positions rapidly. One by one, the elites fell. Finally, only the control node remained. Fury approached it, her enhanced claws extended. With one powerful slash, she cut into the pulsing brain-like structure. The effect was immediate. All across the sector, hive mind drones suddenly lost coordination. Some froze in place. Others began attacking each other. In the council observation room, the military officers reported the surprising development. The hive mind forces are in disarray across 3 systems, one said in disbelief. Whatever those Earth creatures did, it worked. Aaron looked at the stunned council representatives. And that's just one squad. We have 19 more in action. Zixtal looked at the human ambassador with new respect. It seems we severely underestimated Earth's predators. And Earth itself, Aaron added quietly. The Galactic Council's situation room fell silent as new footage streamed in from the front lines. Hive mind nests that had resisted weeks of bombardment from the Council's most advanced weapons were being systematically destroyed by small squads of Earth's enhanced honey badgers. 2 days had passed since Operation Honey Trap began. In that short time, the honey badgers had destroyed 12 major hive mind control nodes. The once coordinated hive forces were now scattered and confused across the sector. Dr. Susan Parker, Earth's chief xenopsychologist, stood before the council. She was a small woman with short gray hair and intelligent eyes. Her job was to explain why the honey badgers were so effective against the hive mind. They're immune to the hive mind's psychic attacks, she explained to the stunned aliens. Honey badgers naturally have a singular focus that makes them resistant to external mental influence. Our enhancements simply made this trait stronger. On the main screen, a honey badger codenamed Rattel Charlie 3, nicknamed Vandal, charged directly into a cluster of hive warriors. These were creatures 3 times his size with armor that could deflect energy weapons. The honey badger moved with terrifying speed, targeting joint sections and sensory organs with precision. Their intelligence enhancement allows them to identify weaknesses instantly, Dr. Peter Hoffman added, standing beside Susan. But their most valuable trait is one we didn't need to enhance at all. They simply don't stop, no matter what. Ambassador Zixtal, who had been the most vocal critic of human combat capabilities, watched the screens with newfound respect. These creatures, they're not merely fighting, they're enjoying the battle. Commander Alice Wright nodded. Honey, badgers don't just survive, they dominate. It's not personal, it's just their nature. And your species? Asked Zixtal quietly. You evolved alongside such creatures? We didn't just evolve alongside them, Alice replied. We studied them, admired them, and in many ways emulated them. Humans may appear diplomatic, but when threatened, she gestured to the screen where the honey badgers were dismantling a hive mind patrol. We're every bit as persistent. The council leader called for attention. While these results are impressive, we have received troubling news. The hive mind appears to be adapting. They are gathering their forces for a major assault on Rigel 7. Rigel 7 was a crucial planet that housed the Council's largest military base in the sector. If it fell, the path to the Central Worlds would be wide open. The hive mind must have identified the honey badgers as their primary threat, said the military advisor, a tall avian being with metallic feathers. They're concentrating all their remaining forces in one location, likely hoping to overwhelm your predators with sheer numbers. Alice looked at the strategic map. Then we'll concentrate our forces too. How many Rattel units can we gather for a counterattack? Lieutenant Kevin Barnes checked his tablet. 15 squads are within range and can be redirected to Rigel 7. The other 5 are too deep in enemy territory to recall quickly. 15 should be enough, Alice decided. We'll coordinate with the Council forces for a joint operation. The Council representatives looked surprised. Until now, the honey badgers had operated independently. You would place your valuable assets under Council command? Asked the Arcturian delegate. Alice shook her head. Not under command. Alongside. The honey badgers work best with minimal direct control. But we can coordinate targets and timing. Back. Aboard the Earth transport ship, which had been renamed the Honeypot by its crew, preparations were underway for the Rigel 7 operation. The honey badger handlers worked with the neural interface systems, updating mission parameters and gathering intelligence. Linda Martinez, who had become the primary handler for Fury's squad, sat at her station monitoring their vital signs. Fury's team has destroyed 3 control nodes without a single casualty, she reported proudly. They're already en route to the rendezvous point near Rigel 7. Gary Powell, who handled the squad led by Brutus, looked less happy. Brutus took some damage to his left front leg. The medical nanites are repairing it, but he'll be at about 85% capacity for this operation. He'll still fight better than anything the hive mind has seen, Kevin assured him. The next morning, a joint briefing was held for all Council commanders and Earth officers. The holographic display showed Rigel 7 and the massive hive mind force gathering in orbit around it. Our intelligence suggests they've created a new type of warrior, specifically to counter the honey badgers, said the Council's head of military intelligence. They're smaller than normal hive warriors, but faster with multiple redundant systems. Alice studied the images. They're learning. That's concerning. Can your honey badgers adapt as well? Asked Zixtal. They're continuously learning, Peter explained. Each encounter with the hive mind teaches them new tactics. They share this knowledge across all squads through their neural network. The YA plan was set. The Council fleet would engage the hive mind ships in orbit, creating a distraction while Earth's dropships delivered the honey badger squads directly to the surface. There, they would target the 5 major control nodes that intelligence had identified. As the meeting ended, the Arcturian delegate approached Alice privately. I must confess, Commander Wright, many of us believed humans were too soft for real warfare. We were wrong. Alice nodded in acknowledgement. A common mistake is confusing kindness for weakness. Humans prefer peace, it's true. But we learned from all of Earth's predators, not just the flashy ones. 12 hours later, the battle for Rigel 7 began. The Council fleet, the largest gathering of ships since the hive mind crisis began, engaged the enemy in orbit. Energy weapons and missiles lit up space around the planet. Under this cover, 15 small Earth vessels slipped through the chaos. Each carried a squad of 4 honey badgers and their support team. Fury's squad was assigned to the primary control node, located in what had once been the planet's capital city. Their dropship took heavy fire during descent, forcing an emergency landing 3 kilometers from the target. Through her neural implant, Linda contacted Fury. The ship is damaged. You'll need to proceed on foot to the target. Fury acknowledged the message and led her squad out of the ship. The landscape around them was a nightmare of destruction. Once beautiful buildings lay in ruins. The streets were covered with the strange organic material the hive mind used to reshape environments to their liking. And there were enemies everywhere. The new anti-honey badger warriors moved in packs of 6, searching systematically through the ruins. Fury signaled for her squad to move quietly. They would need to use stealth for as long as possible to reach their target. In orbit, the battle raged. The Council ships were holding their own, but just barely. Everything depended on the honey badgers reaching their targets quickly. On board the honeypot, Alice and her team monitored all 15 squads. 3 had already engaged with enemy forces. The rest were still moving toward their objectives. Fury's squad has encountered heavy resistance, Linda reported. They're 1 kilometer from the primary node, but there are at least 30 specialized anti-badger units between them and the target. Alice studied the tactical display. Tell them to wait. We'll coordinate with the other squads. We need a synchronized attack on all 5 nodes. Peter looked concerned. The longer they wait, the more time the hive mind has to prepare. I know, Alice replied. But we need to hit all 5 nodes at once to prevent the hive mind from adapting. Finally, all squads were in position. Alice gave the order, Operation Honeycomb, execute now. Across Rigel 7, 15 honey badger squads launched their attacks simultaneously. The hive mind, despite its distributed intelligence, couldn't respond to so many threats at once. Fury's squad faced the toughest challenge. The primary control node was heavily defended by the new anti-badger warriors, but the honey badgers had a surprise of their own. They had learned from every previous encounter with the hive mind. They knew how to counter almost any defense. Fury led her team in a complex attack pattern that confused the enemy's targeting systems. One by one, they broke through the defenses, until they reached the central chamber housing the primary control node. It was massive, nearly filling the entire room. Destroying it would cripple the entire hive mind presence in the sector. Fury didn't hesitate. She charged directly at the Yai. Pulsing brain-like structure, her enhanced claws ready to strike a killing blow for the Galactic Council. 6 months after Operation Honey Trap began, the Galactic Council held a special ceremony. The Grand Chamber, once a place where human representatives were barely noticed, now fell silent as Commander Alice Wright entered. Dr. Peter Hoffman walked beside her along with a special guest, Rattel Alpha, the Honey Badger squad leader known as Fury. The enhanced Honey Badger, now retired from active combat, wore a small specialized suit that allowed her to move comfortably in the council chamber. She looked at the assembled alien representatives with her usual calm confidence. The council formally acknowledges that we severely misjudged Earth's capabilities, began the Arcturian chair being. Its gelatinous form rippled with what humans had learned was respect. In our arrogance, we failed to recognize that evolution takes many paths to create effective predators. The defeat of the hive mind had been total. After the Battle of Rigel 7, where Fury had destroyed the primary control node despite being wounded by 3 anti-Badger warriors, the remaining hive forces had collapsed. Without their central coordination, they were easily eliminated by Council forces. Ambassador Zixtal, who had once mocked humans so openly, stepped forward. The tall reptilian's scales gleamed in ceremonial colors of respect and honor. The Dravek Empire formally requests a military exchange program with Earth, he said. We wish to learn from your unique approach to warfare. Other council members quickly added their own requests. Some wanted technological exchanges. Others asked for defensive alliances. Earth, once the laughingstock of the galaxy, had become its most sought-after military partner overnight. Alice looked down at Fury, who sat calmly by her side. The Honey Badger seemed almost bored by all the attention. That was typical. Honey Badgers didn't care about praise or recognition. They simply did what was in their nature. After the formal ceremony ended, Alice found herself surrounded by high-ranking alien military officials. All of them wanted to learn more about Earth's other predator species. The Honey Badgers were certainly effective, said a tall avian commander from Deneb. His feathers were a metallic blue that shifted color as he moved. But surely they represent the most dangerous of Earth's predators. Alice exchanged an amused glance with Peter before answering. Actually, we've barely scratched the surface. Have you ever heard of the wolverine, the saltwater crocodile, the mantis shrimp? As she spoke, Peter activated his tablet, displaying footage of these creatures in their natural habitats. The alien officials watched with growing unease. And these are all unenhanced? Asked the Danebian, his beak clicking nervously. Completely natural, confirmed Alice. Project Rattel was just the beginning of what Earth can offer as allies, or deploy as adversaries. Later that evening, as the Earth delegation prepared to return home, Ambassador Aaron Mills joined Alice on the observation deck of the station. Together they looked out at the spiral arm of the galaxy. The Council has approved our request for 3 seats on the Security Committee, he told her, and they've granted the expanded territorial rights we asked for our colonies. Alice nodded, watching as Fury investigated an exotic fruit provided by an admiring alien diplomat. The Honey Badger sniffed it, decided it was acceptable, and began eating with her usual focused determination. You know, Alice said quietly, we never needed to enhance their courage or tenacity. Those traits were already perfect. Aaron smiled, much like humanity itself. We were never the soft species they thought we were. Back on the transport ship, Lieutenant Kevin Barnes was overseeing the preparation of the Honey Badger quarters. Though most of the enhanced animals were now retired from active combat, they remained important members of Earth's defense force. Linda Martinez helped him check the environmental controls. Did you hear? She asked. The Council has officially renamed Outpost 42. It's now called Honey Badger Station in honor of our little warriors. Kevin laughed. From the least important outpost to a named station, that's quite a promotion. Gary Powell entered the room carrying a special treat for the honey badgers, a synthetic honey that they particularly enjoyed. The best part is that the council is now studying Earth biology in detail. They're finally learning what we've known all along. Size and strength aren't everything. Alice joined them a few hours later, after the transport ship had departed, from the council station. She found the three of them in the recreation room watching old nature documentaries about Earth's predators. The council representatives couldn't believe that honey badgers naturally take on lions, Linda said as Alice sat down. They thought all the footage was enhanced or staged. To be fair, it is pretty incredible, Kevin pointed out. I wouldn't have believed it either if I hadn't grown up watching these documentaries. Alice smiled as she watched the screen. It showed a wild honey badger fearlessly facing a pride of lions, refusing to back down despite being outnumbered and outsized. That's what the council never understood about Earth, she said. Our planet created a special kind of determination, the kind that doesn't always look impressive until you experience it firsthand. Dr. Susan Parker entered with a data pad. I've finished analyzing the hive mind remains, she announced. Their adaptation capabilities were remarkable. If the honey badgers hadn't struck when they did, the hive might have eventually developed effective countermeasures. But they didn't adapt quickly enough, Peter said, joining the group. They didn't understand what they were facing until it was too late. Alice thought about the future. The galaxy had changed forever. Humanity would never again be underestimated or dismissed. Earth was now recognized as a major power, not because of advanced technology or massive fleets, but because of the spirit of its creatures, both the honey badgers and the humans who had learned from them. We should send the council a complete database of Earth's predators now, she suggested. No more strategic omissions. Agreed, said Aaron. But we should include a special note about the most dangerous predator of all. The honey badger? Asked Linda. Aaron shook his head. Humans. Because we don't just have our own tenacity and intelligence. We learn from every creature on our planet. We adapt. We take inspiration from the honey badger, the wolf, the eagle, and countless others. Alice looked out the viewport at the stars. The galaxy that had once seemed so hostile now held unlimited possibilities for Earth. In the honey badger quarters, Fury settled into her comfortable nest. Her battle days were over, but her legacy would live on. The enhanced honey badgers had proven their worth, and more importantly, they had shown the galaxy the true nature of Earth and its inhabitants. The honey badger doesn't seek glory. It doesn't care about size or odds. It simply faces every challenge with absolute determination and unwavering courage. And in that way, the honey badger is very much like humanity itself. As the transport ship accelerated toward Earth, carrying its crew of humans and honey badgers, news of their achievements spread across the galaxy. The message was clear. Never judge a species by its appearance or technology level. Sometimes the most dangerous predator is the one you never saw coming. And sometimes that predator is a small, unassuming creature that simply refuses to back down, whether it's a honey badger or a human. The end.